If you have one shot, one moment, one opportunity to play everything you ever wanted, which one would you choose? That's what we're going to talk about today. What is up, guys? My name is Tausif, Hussain, and today we're making a big decision, guys. Like, this is a generation defining decision. Like, if you choose wrong, you could pretty much change the course of your life entirely. So I've had both the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 for about a month now since it launched, and I just kind of wanted to put together my thoughts and what are my experiences after a month of usage, and basically what my outlook is for either of these systems. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is looks, and this thing is super subjective. For me personally, I think the Series X looks dope. Like, I'm a huge fan of like the whole matte black look, and this is basically just like a matte black tower that's just, inconspicuously just sitting on the side of your TV. I'm for it. I love it. Whereas the PS5, and this is a theme you're going to see consistently throughout this video, is unapologetically like gamer. It has a very gamer-esque focus on it in terms of design, and you can see this anywhere from like the curved edges that kind of make it look like a spaceship to the glowing lights, which are all actually really cool. And in terms of size, these things are quite different as well. Like, the PS5 is huge. The good thing is you can lie down on its side, and even then it still looks pretty big. So there's that. Next up, let's talk about the internals. Now, both the systems are actually architecturally very similar. Like, they have a very similar CPU, GPU. I believe it's the same parts. It's just slightly different spec differences in favor of the Xbox. But overall, they're very much similar. And that's why when I actually played games on them, it wasn't much of a difference. Like, it wasn't something that I would notice and say, oh man, it looks better on the Xbox or on the PlayStation 5. But overall, both of them are significantly faster, at least in terms of load times and the experience compared to the previous generation. So that's always a plus. But I think what we really need to focus on is what is different and what are the special features in each of the platforms, and that's what we're going to look at right now. So starting off with the Xbox, the first special feature I want to talk about is Quick Resume. Quick Resume is really cool. Like, it basically, as soon as you start the game, like, you can just jump between games, and as soon as you start it up, then you don't have to wait for any loading menus or anything like that. It literally just throws you right back into the game wherever you left off. Now, this is really cool for somebody who wants to play several different games at the same time, or like they're getting bored of several games and just kind of just switch between them, or for somebody like me who has very little patience and just want to start the game and just get going. Now, the next one I want to talk about is exclusives. So the PlayStation 5 has a few, which we're going to talk about, and the Xbox has none. Okay, so you know how like back in school you would be doing like an assignment or something like that, and then you're going through your test paper, let's say, and you're 80% of the way there, but then there's some other kid that's like twice as smart as you, and he raises his hand and he's like, I'm done, and then you're like, there's like this sudden urge inside you to also raise your hand, even though it doesn't make any sense because you still have 20% of the test left, but you decide to raise your hand anyways because you don't want to miss the boat to like, get out of the class early, and then you raise your hand up, and then the teacher collects your paper, and then the teacher goes home, marks it, and then you find out that you did twice as worse as your friend because you also didn't finish 20% of the test, whereas he finished the full test. I feel like that's what happened with Xbox here, because it was like PlayStation had like a whole bunch of exclusives and everything lined up when they launched, and then the Xbox had nothing. Now, in terms of exclusives, the one I got was Miles Morales, like with the PlayStation 5. Honestly, this was my first Spider-Man game I've ever played, and I gotta say, it blew my mind. It was so cool, like really cool game. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. But Miles Morales was a really good one. PS5 also has several other exclusives that are on their way, such as the new God of War, like Horizon, Ratchet & Clank, Demon's Souls, which is already out, and Sackboy, and so many others. So in terms of exclusives, PlayStation clearly wins. But I would say the biggest difference between these two has to do with Xbox Game Pass. Like with Microsoft's Game Pass, you basically get a plethora of multi-platform games, including EA's entire library collection. which is crazy. If you think about it, for $15 a month, you're getting a lot of bang for buck right there. Here's one way to look at it. I don't remember which video I saw this on, but let's say you were to go and buy PlayStation 5's digital only version for $400 and you tacked on 3 games on top of that at $70 a pop. You're looking at about $610 total. Or let's say you went and you purchased an Xbox Series X and you just got Game Pass for $120, so that's $500 plus $120. You're looking at $620, just around the same price. So for around the same price, you're getting a marginally better system, arguably better system at least, with the Xbox Series X, and you get a plethora of games that you can choose from and play to your heart's content for that year. So that is a bargain, if you ask me. Now, PlayStation does have PS Now, which does give you access to a whole bunch of games, but honestly, the quality for those games and like just the type of selection is just not there. Now, in terms of storage, PlayStation 5 does have non-proprietary storage, which is good. So you can upgrade your storage solutions down the road, and you're kind of not limited to just using like proprietary Xbox storage expansion if you want to expand your storage on the Xbox Series X. And the last 2 categories I kind of want to touch over is firstly, the menu systems. Like actual using the menu systems and everything like that on the PlayStation, it's actually really clean and simple. I've never owned a PlayStation before. This is my first time, and I quite enjoyed like the graphics that kind of play at the back and like while you just move, and it's just neat and simple to understand. Whereas on the Xbox, it's very similar to what we had in the last gen, and I kind of wish they did do a makeover here because it just looks very similar to last year's. It works, it's fine. It's a little bit confusing. Okay, and last but not least, let's talk about the controllers. Now, Microsoft decided to go with the whole tried and tested method of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Because the controller's pretty much exactly similar with slight improvements here and there to previous gen. And I guess I'm okay with that because don't get me wrong, like the Xbox controller has traditionally been my favorite controller year over year. I just love how it fits in your hand. It feels really good in your hand. And it's good, it's great. But it would have been nice to have a few more differences or changes this year. Now, the PS5 controller, on the other hand, is truly next gen. Like, it's been upgraded with like USB-C, a mic, and adaptive triggers and stuff like that, which really makes this a standout feature for PS5. Just playing games, like, it just feels so different. It brings a level of immersive experience to your game, and like with the whole directionality, which you don't experience with any other normal controller. For example, when you're playing games like Call of Duty and stuff, like they've optimized for every different gun to feel different on the triggers. And when you're actually playing games, for example, if you're like driving a car or shooting a gun, like the adaptive triggers have different levels of feedback to it. Okay, so let's conclude. So I think the Xbox Series X brings a lot to the table. I mean, like the Xbox has a very compelling future-oriented like way of playing games with its entire ecosystem and Xbox Game Pass, allowing you to pretty much play any game anywhere, and that's kind of what they're pushing. Whereas the PS5, on the other hand, even though it doesn't have Game Pass, what it does have going for it is different game studios that are willing to make exclusive content for PlayStation. Is your traditional gaming console first sort of device. I mean, the experience is meant to be, okay, a solid exclusive game comes out, you buy game, play game in front of your TV in a traditional console sense. And to be honest, that has its own allure to it as well. Which is why I would say if you have a gaming PC, for example, or let's say you are thinking about building a gaming PC at some point, then the PS5 just makes a lot more sense. And on the flip side, if you're somebody who's looking for the best bang for your buck, I really can't ignore what Xbox is offering here with Game Pass Ultimate and everything that it has in its ecosystem. And if you're more future oriented in terms of what's going to be possible with like Google Home integration support with, with your Xbox and stuff like that, then the Xbox Series X brings a lot to the table. But if you're someone like me who, doesn't really game that much, and there may be a few titles here and there that may intrigue you, so you buy them, you open them up, play them, and maybe not even finish them, but you're just there for the experience, then the PlayStation 5, with its solid exclusives and its phenomenal controller experience, is a great option. But let's be real here. all of us are pretty much just gonna get the console that all our friends are playing anyways, because that's pretty much what ends up always happening. TLDR, you don't even need this video. Just get what your friends are getting. In any case, if you liked this video and thought it was beneficial and entertaining to you, then I would really appreciate you hitting that like button down there. If you like content around tech, gadgets, filmmaking, and lifestyle, then make sure you guys go ahead and smash that subscribe button and hit that notification bell while you're at it. Let me know in the comment section down below which system you prefer and why, or if you ended up getting one and where you got it from, because there's a lot of people still looking for them. In any case, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.